Hello, hello, and welcome to At Home with Lucas. So today we're going to be talking about ULALOV Gooseneck Kettle. Yes, people, this thing has a smart station, so when you set the kettle back down onto it, you have a nice little display that you can change the temperature and do all kinds of high-tech stuff without having to break the bank. So this could be the best gooseneck kettle out there for the price, or it could be so junk you need to skip it entirely. We won't know until the very end of this video. Okay, so in this video, we're gonna be doing a hands-on with the box, quick unboxing and first impressions on said kettle. After that, I'm gonna be putting this to the At Home with Lucas test to figure out, is this something you should buy or maybe skip altogether? I'm here for you, so you don't have to waste your time buying and returning. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, up at the top left, you have the name of the company, ULALOV. This is a gooseneck kettle. This is model GK201. There's an image of what's to come in the box. This thing has auto shut off, it's BPA free, leak proof, boil dry, which is awesome, and keep warm. That means you should be able to set it to a certain temperature and have it continue to heat. All right, let's get inside of this. Okay, the first thing that popped out is the user manual. These things are very important to read through so you figure out all the different button presses and whatnot. Okay, so this is the base portion of it. It looks like you have some keep warm buttons. These are made out of plastic that are trying to look like they're metal. And then you have a turn dial over here, which is also made out of plastic that's trying to look like metal. So this thing is very cheaply built. This is some kind of metal right here, but it's very, very cheap and flimsy metal. Take a look at the bottom. So you have some grips at the bottom so it doesn't move around. Looks like you have a little cord lock right there. That's cool. And that's where you put the kettle and it sends the electricity. Wow, it sends it right through that little pin, and I think there's another one down in there. Huh, very interesting. Okay, so it looks like you have the option of 175, 185, 190, 200, and boil black to 12. Yes, people, I think that's for tea. You have a button right here to mute. Wow, press for 3 seconds and it'll mute it. Very interesting. And then there's the keep warm button. I'm sure there's lights that are gonna light up around this, so we'll see what happens when we get there. All right, so that's the base, pretty standard. Let's go ahead and take a look at the kettle itself. All right, so this is made out of very, very thin, very cheap metal. This is definitely going to be an inexpensive buy, and it's going to definitely produce a little bit of metal taste in your coffee or tea or whatever you're dealing with, because this is not made out of premium metal. That's what I found with this company last time. It was just not the best tasting, but that doesn't matter, because if you're gonna add any cream or sugar or anything to your coffee or tea or beverage, you're probably not gonna worry about the taste whatsoever. Okay, let's see how it clips onto here. Okay, so it clips on there with like this little snap, and if it's not full of water, it kind of pushes back up. So it kind of has like a spring to it where it doesn't want to sit flat, it wants to just bounce back up. Okay, coming up, we're going to plug this thing in and just see how well it actually functions. Alright, so this thing actually does perform quite well. I was very much surprised with the touchscreen and with the way that the handle is completely cool the entire time. Of course, it is plastic. I went ahead and brewed up some dark black tea right here and enjoyed the process. It was actually really, really fun. This thing is very intuitive and very easy to use. And then of course, when you go to pour it in, the gooseneck's great. I like it a lot. I think it did its job, and the tech is just overwhelmingly awesome. Build quality is still terrible, and then the lid, once again, is absolutely amazing. It completely locks on. All right, let's get into this sip review or sip test to figure out, does this have any sort of metallic taste to it? Now, I did review another one of these kettles by the same company, and it had this really weird metallic taste. No matter how much I tried to get rid of it by boiling many different amounts of water, and it still never went away. So here we go. We're going to give it the sip review to figure out, is this something that's going to have a funky taste? I drink everything black. All right, let's see what it's got.
That's not bad. There's a little hint of metallic, but it's not overwhelming. And definitely if you put cream or sugar in, you're never going to notice it at all. But the smell is okay, and the taste, yeah, it's really not overpowering. It's not something you're going to be like, oh, this is disgusting. And it definitely seems way tame compared to the last kettle I reviewed by them. So they may have changed the metal. I doubt it. Yeah, it's not terrible at all.
Okay, this thing definitely has some smart tech in it. This display is actually really, really cool. Cool thing is when you take this off, it starts a timer, so you know exactly how many seconds or minutes this thing has been off of the station. So that is really, really cool. The display, and then you can of course just click, and now it's going to heat it up to 190. Very, very cool, very simple. I just wish this thing was more premium. Alright, so I've been using this long enough that I think I have a full comprehensive review, and this is a really cool looking, very tech savvy device that's actually really, really cheaply made, and that's where the whole review, I have this sort of like back and forth where I love the tech, I like the look, but the materials are so terrible that it's hard to kind of wrap my head around it. It's really strange. But let's start off with the pros. So the pros are this screen down here is actually really, really cool, and the turn dial is very responsive. And basically what it does is it goes through all the different presets. The keep warm works perfectly. I was really happy with that. So all the tech is amazing. It's just the hardware is terrible. Every bit of this is just cheap plastic, cheap metal. It's just all so cheap, and yet it has really cool features. It boils up really, really fast. It's going to beat any kettle you have in your house. The keep warm feature works. It has a timer, which I showed you earlier. When you take this off, the timer starts counting. That's really, really cool. So it's like this thing is like ready for prime time, but the build quality, the materials, absolutely terrible. Very hard to recommend this to people because you're going to get something that is just made out of like really cheap metal, plastic, really cheap metal down here. Yet this display screen down here is actually really nice. They do a good job of filling up the whole entire circle. So there's information that comes at the bottom. When you take that off, like I showed you earlier, starts ticking away. You can mute everything. Like I said, you just hold this down, the mute right there. So you can see that now when you press all the buttons, you hear no sound, which is really cool. And then of course you can turn it back on just like that. Boom, done. There's a little brew icon, a little heating icon right there. So everything about this display screen is really, really cool. I also really like the fact that this does not get hot down here. So there's no heat anywhere down here because it's just electricity going into this kettle here. Now this whole thing is very, very hot. There's no part of this you could touch without it being completely hot to the touch. The bottom though is made out of plastic, and you can set this down anywhere. It's not going to burn anything you set it on. So this could be boiling. You could set it down and you're good to go. So there's a lot of pros with this thing. There's a lot of tech inside of here. It boils really, really fast. And if you're not too bothered with cheap materials, this is the one to buy. It's going to give you all the features that you want from a really expensive model, but at a cheaper price because it's cutting all the corners everywhere else. It looks really cool. It looks super stylish and very handsome, and I give it an applause for how well it looks, as long as you don't scrape it really easily. You can see there I just chipped more paint off because it's just cheap paint, and in reality they probably did not put a primer down before they sprayed this paint on, which is why it's chipping off so easily. So very weird. It's just like, this is what I dealt with their last kettle they sent me. It was just like so cheap, but it did its job. It worked, and I liked it. I wasn't mad at it. It was like, okay, it boiled water. Good job. It did its job. This thing does the same thing. You look at it, you go, that is cheap junk, and then you start to use the display down here and the features, and you're like, whoa, that's actually really good quality. That's very surprising. So I'm gonna say I recommend this to people that understand they're buying something that's not premium material and is not made out of anything expensive, but they're gonna get some cool features. They're gonna be able to get their tea and their coffee and all their fun drinks without having to do a lot of work with using your own thermometer or trying to read a thermometer on the top. It's all built into here. Great display. I give the display a 5 out of 5 stars. I give the tech a 5 out of 5 stars. I give the build quality a 3 out of 5 stars, and I give the overall everything a 4 out of 5 stars. So I'm gonna say I would recommend this to you if you said, oh, I know what this is, I'm gonna buy it because I want it inexpensive, but I want the features of the more expensive ones. This is the one to buy. If you're like, oh, I want something that's gonna last, I want something that's gonna take a hit and keep looking great, skip this one, buy something else. This thing is not gonna look great for long. As you can see, you can literally scrape and scratch this paint right off. So yeah, now if this is something that's gonna go into an RV and you're gonna use it 2 times a year, yeah, this is gonna be great. This would be phenomenal in an RV if you're living in an RV or a camper van or something. This also could be great. You can store this really easily, pull it out, indoors, outdoors, plug it in, boom, you're good to go. So I recommend it to people that understand what they're buying. I don't want to tell you to buy this thing and you think it's premium and then you get to using it and you realize it's made out of junk material. No, I'm not doing that. I'm telling you it's made out of really cheap material, but it has good tech in it and it does its job very, very well. It boils water. So I would love to see this in a premium, and then I would tell everyone to buy it and I would give it a stamp of approval, 5 out of 5 stars. But this one, can't give it that solid star rating.
All right, there you go. That's the ULALOV Gooseneck Kettle. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely clickety-clack that like button. And if you want to join the At Home with Lucas family and you want to be a part of this crew, hit that subscribe button. Every time I get a subscriber, I get a boost to make more and more videos. And it's because of you guys I surpassed 3K. Yes, people, on my way to 4K, but I need your help. Yes, you right there. Tell your friends, tell your family, this guy's on YouTube. They should go subscribe and watch my channel. But as always, I thank you for watching each and every one of my videos, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.